What is going on, fellow adventurers? Today we have a really cool video for you guys. So if you didn't see the last video, basically we started a multi-part series where I'm going to be showing you guys how to make DIY lures. The reason we started this series is because it's been really crappy weather here in South Texas lately, and we couldn't really get out and fish, but I wanted to make some videos for you guys, so we decided to make the DIY lure series. In the last video, which was the first part to this series, I showed you guys how to make your very own DIY clay molds and then melt down old soft plastics and make new ones. And in today's video, as I promised in the last one, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make your very own DIY hard bait. And not just any hard bait, a crankbait. Real quick before we get started in today's video, if you haven't already, make sure you smash that subscribe button, like this video, hit the notification bell and hit all notifications, share my channel, comment down below, and if you have an Instagram account, I would love it if you would follow me on Instagram at Hudson's Fishing Adventures. And in the last video, I showed you everything you needed to make the clay molds and soft plastics right away. But in this video, we're going to be showing you guys, like I said, how to make a DIY crankbait out of a block of balsa wood, just like this. And we're going to be using a lot more tools and doing a lot more steps than the last video. So I'm just going to kind of be showing you guys what tools you're going to need as we go. And I wanted to let y'all know I am going to be making my crankbait out of balsa wood because not only is it a great affordable wood, but it's what the pros use. And now without further ado, let's get right into making a DIY crankbait. Okay, so right here we have our little balsa wood with our crankbait design on it, and I have my little Fiskars Pro fold-out handsaw. This is more of a survival, like woods saw, but we don't have a good blade for our normal handsaw right now, so I'm gonna make it work. And all I'm gonna do is cut just a smaller block around this crankbait. Wow, that was, wow. Anyways, we finally got our crankbait really good looking. Look how much wood we shaved off right there. So now I'm going to show you guys step 3 to making your DIY hard bait, and that is going to be sanding down the edges and then just sanding kind of down the profile of your bait to get an even closer look at what your bait is going to look like. But real quick, I would recommend wearing a mask, as we did last time, melting down the soft plastics for chemicals and just stink in the air. We're going to do it this time for sawdust, because while you're sanding it, there's going to be a lot of sawdust in the air. Here we go! Might not be money, might not be gold. Let your love release your soul. Come on and pray. Oh my gosh. Tell me you guys cannot see general crankbait in that shape. I know it's still far from perfect, but we have not yet sanded down the whole thing, but I just want to show you guys that is what we were working with. So now I'm going to sand, maybe make this little indent that's kind of separates the head and the tail a little bit deeper, and then I'm going to start sanding kind of this way to make the tail a lot thinner than the head and kind of round off these edges. But I just had to take a break. My hands feel like they're shaking. That was a solid 15 minutes of pure sandpapering, but there we go. Let's get sanding again. You can now see that it's a lot thinner in the tail than it is in the head, like a normal crankbait. You can now see that it has the shape of a crankbait, and you can now tell, I mean probably, that it's really smooth like a crankbait. So now what I'm probably going to do is do a little bit of touch-up sanding off camera, and then I'll get into the next step of making your DIY hard bait. Okay, so we just finished sanding down the DIY crankbait. I did get a little bit lighter grit sandpaper and sand it down really smoothly. You can see that right now, how just incredible this thing looks. So now what I'm going to do is mark where I want the bill to go, the 2 hooks, and the eye.
Might not be money, might not be gold. Let your love release your soul. Come on and pray, won't you pray?
So this crankbait is pretty big, and what that means is it is going to take a pretty big fish to want to hit this, and that's good news for a fisherman because it means we'll probably catch a bigger fish on it, but it also means that this needs to be really strong, and the wood, I'm very confident, is very strong, but what I'm worried about is the hardware. So what I was going to do to drill into the balsa wood was just going to be some screw eyes, and I was just going to put some split rings on that, and then the hooks down here. But I'm worried that a big bass could easily pull out a 1/2-inch split ring out of this soft balsa wood. So what I actually think I'm going to do is saw a line down the middle, like the line of symmetry, just saw right down the middle of this crankbait so that I can connect a wire to all the loops so that all the hardware will be connected in the middle so it cannot break with a heavy wire, so the fish cannot pull out part of it because it'll all be connected. And I will say I got this idea from Marteling Baits. He makes really cool wooden baits all the time. I will have his channel linked down in the description below, and he did something similar with some wire, so I'm excited to do this. Okay, well here is our line. You can see I did a pretty good job staying down the center, except in the end, while it still is in the center, I made the line a little bit too wide on accident, the little crevice. But the good news is we're just gonna fill all this in later. We are going to measure our wire.
Show you how to love, make you understand. No, you never thought that you would fall. Now you're on your knees and you're about ready to crawl.
Look at that, you guys. Our line tie, our middle hook, and our back hook eye. And all of it is connected in the middle with wire. I mean, it's just all one piece of wire just bent together.
On your knees under the willow trees and pray with me for what we need. Might not be money, might not be gold. Let your love release your soul. Come on and pray. Won't you pray with me? There's electric in your veins. It's burning you up.
Okay, so there's actually been a couple days since I filmed that last clip, and the reason being I attempted to fill the crack where we inserted the wire and little split shots with hot glue and sawdust, and while I thought that would work really well, it actually didn't. You can see it's a little rough, very rough. And another thing I realized is I was about to get ready to paint it, but right after I paint it, I want to be able to seal it, and I don't have anything to seal it with. So a big shout out to my dad because he ran to Home Depot and got the 2 things that we will need to finish our bait. Some premium wood filler. So what this is kind of a putty stuff, I'm assuming, that you can fill cracks in wood in, and then once it dries, you can sand it down and it'll be flush with the wood and look like just part of the wood, which is so awesome because not only is it gonna make our bait look a lot better in that crack, but it's gonna make the structural integrity of the bait a lot stronger. And then we also have, you got 2 different kinds, which is actually really cool, so we can choose 2 different kinds of polyurethanes to seal our bait. Right here we have an oil-based polyurethane, and right here we have a water-based polyurethane. I will have all this stuff linked down in the description below if you guys want to check it out. But first things first, let's get some of this, what is it called? It's DAP Premium Wood Filler. Let's put some of that in the crack of our bait. And it says it seals wood, so before we paint it, we might actually just rub any excess we have on the wood, because obviously it doesn't have to be a clear coat for this because we're gonna paint over it, so it might help seal it even more. So if we have this, we'll seal the bait first, then we paint it, that'll seal it a little bit, and then I'm gonna do probably 2 or 3 coats of that one of those polyurethanes, and that'll seal it as well. So okay, y'all, so it has been about 30 minutes actually in our bait. The sealant, this putty stuff, is totally dry, so we're gonna sand it down now. There we go, y'all. I just sanded down the whole thing, and it is looking great. Now I'm gonna hit inside and start painting this thing. Well, okay, we just made it to where I'm gonna be painting our bait. Look at that. This is the before with all the white putty on it. Now let's get painting. So I have an assortment of paints here. Got some kind of pinkish peach color. It's called a flamingo coral. So I'm gonna start with this flamingo coral and kind of make a cool belly pattern. There we go, I just finished the belly of this crankbait and look how good that looks. Probably gonna do a second coat, but right now I'm gonna start working on another part of this bait. I think what we're gonna do for the sides is this kind of light green, fading up, and then maybe some black stripes, maybe make it look like a perch. But let's open this one up.
No, you never thought that you would fall. Now you're on your knees and you're about ready to crawl. You need someone to rid you of your disease.
Well, there we go. That is looking pretty dang awesome. There's our pink belly, our kind of green sides, and then I left this one little like middle stripe, not painted green, that I think I'm gonna go in with one of these different colors and kind of make a cool stripe down the back. Yeah, I'm gonna make the stripe down the middle with this kind of silvery paint. Well, there we go. There's our green side bait with our pink belly and our silver stripe down the back. Now all I'm gonna do is let this dry for a little bit, and then I'm gonna go and add some cool stripes down the green, probably with this silver. Okay, y'all, so there's our bait. The green is pretty much dried. It's still a little sticky, but I'm gonna go ahead and make some silver stripes connecting off this big silver line on the back down the body of this crankbait.
What we need. Might not be money, might not be gold. Let your love release your soul. Come on and pray. Won't you pray?
There we go, we have both sides painted. I know they're not perfectly the same at all, but it's the best I could do by just eyeballing it. So now I'm gonna let this dry. You know, actually we're gonna go ahead and add some eyes because we can do that while this is still drying. Eyes. You know what, I think we're gonna make it a red eye. Seems like some of the best baits are always the red eye baits. So let's make ours one of the best.
Let it out so you can live again.
Now that is what I'm talking about. Look at that big old mean red eye. Now let's do it on the other side.
Scream and shout so you can love again if you
There we go, got both eyes painted on. Shaking right now, I've been holding this thing like this forever, but now, okay, this is actually really funny. So I was just about to say, I think I want to paint the bill red, I swear. And I had red paint all over my finger and grabbed the bill. So now there's no hesitation. We are definitely painting this bill red. I was very lucky that didn't get on the rest of the bait.
might not be money, might not be gold. Let your love release your soul. Come on and pray. Won't you?
There is our bait. I'll show you guys a little bit better once it's dry, but I think I'm gonna do a little bit of touching up off camera and then we're gonna let this dry and that'll be our painted bait. Okay, so I'm back out in the garage on the tool chest. I have our great looking bait. And then I also have our 2 polyurethanes. And I did a little bit of research and I quickly found that oil-based polyurethane is supposed to be a little bit better because it sticks to the bait better and it also lasts a lot longer on lures. So we're gonna break open this Varathane, I believe that's how it's pronounced, Varathane, Ultimate Polyurethane Oil-Based interior, which we're gonna be using it for exterior underwater, but it's fine. So we're gonna crack this open and apply probably 2 to 3 coats on this bait. So let's start breaking this thing open. There's our stuff, just kind of looks like black tar water. How I'm gonna do this is get a little Phillips head screwdriver that I can actually put through the front eye, I believe. Yep, just like that. And I'm actually just gonna dip the whole thing under and then let it kind of dry. Okay, y'all, so I did 2 more coats of that oil-based polyurethane off camera, and look at this bait. How sick does that look? And now it is the time where we make this bait official by adding split rings and hooks. So right here I have our bait, super glue, which you'll see why I need that in a minute. Then I have my catfish tackle box that I believe, yep, right here has a bunch of different treble hook sizes. First things first, I want to go ahead and put the split rings on. So for the middle hook, or the first hook, I'm just gonna have a normal treble hook on. But for the back hook, I want it to be a little bit unique. So I'm gonna show y'all, I'm gonna use my fly tying kit right here, and I'm gonna show you guys how to make your very own like feathered treble hook for the back. There we go, there's our finished feather treble hook. Now the camera is like, I mean, it's gonna be dead, so I'm gonna go ahead and let this dry, and then I will pick it back up when we, after the camera charges, and we put these. Okay, so I recharged the battery, and now we are back up and rolling, and our feather tail little trailer treble hook is all dry and ready to be attached onto the DIY hard bait crankbait. So we're gonna go ahead and use the split ring pliers and get this treble hook on, and then get the one in the middle. Let's get started. Okay guys, I hold in my hand the finished product, a 2-day build to the DIY hard bait, DIY crankbait, the second part to this DIY lure series, and I'm gonna do the big reveal in 3, 2, 1. Look at this bait, you guys. How awesome is that? To think, just 2 days ago, we started with a block of balsa wood, and now we have this incredible looking crankbait. We have the bill, nice painted red. We have our cool kind of perch stripes with our big old feather trailer treble hook. We have a split ring 4 on the eye to give it a little bit more free wobble when it's going. It's pretty deep diving. The bill's pretty narrow. It's a square bill, so it should be able to bounce off some structure, but I'm thinking it'll go probably only like 2 or 3 feet deep. The bill is angled to where it should go like 8 feet deep, but balsa wood is really light and floats really well, so even with the added weight we added, I don't think it's going to go like crazy down. I think it's gonna be fighting the bill and trying to stay afloat. So I think it'll go about 2 to 3 feet deep, but that is perfect for where I like to fish with crankbaits. There we go. This bait could not have turned out any better in my opinion. It looks so good with that glossy polyurethane on it, and not only does it look good, but that polyurethane is gonna protect it and make it 100% waterproof. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell to the right of the subscribe button, and hit all notifications. Like this video, please share my channel, comment down below, and also I would love it if you have an Instagram account, if you would follow me on Instagram. It was so fun making this DIY hard bait crankbait. It was just a blast. And if you guys haven't seen the first part to this DIY lure series where I showed you how to make soft plastics and clay molds, make sure you check that video out. I'll have a link down in the description below. And I want to let you guys know in the next part to this series coming out soon, I am going to be fishing with not only the DIY hard bait crankbait, but also the soft plastics that we made in the clay molds in the last video. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. I do not think I could be any happier with the way that this crankbait turned out. I'm just pumped. And on that note, I will see you guys on the next adventure.